Hey YouTube, been a long time since my last video. It's been, this is I guess 119, 120 days, 4 months, I think give or take, and 17 weeks post-surgery, hiatal hernia and TIF repair. And I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to try to keep this short, had a bit of trouble with some constipation and had to have or they recommend I had a colonoscopy, which was fine. They didn't even need to take a biopsy. Everything was just fine. So I don't know what complications, why having this surgery, the hiatal hernia and the TIF, created such a problem with that. But that's another issue. You're not here for that if you're watching these videos. But I've had I started to feel pretty good. Let's call it, today's what's today? November 17th. I should know this ahead of time. Today's November 17th. I had the colonoscopy on the 3rd, Wednesday the 3rd, I believe. Friday the 5th and 6th or so, give or take. I mean, I felt pretty good. I was starting to not have issues as much with water brash and sour taste, and I was even able to drink water. If you go back to previous videos, I since the surgery, about day 17 or so, water just tasted horrible. And I have been drinking water without some sort of flavoring in it. Mio, Crystal Light, call it what you want. Mio is what I drink. And just continued symptoms like I've had. For me, water brash, nausea, sour taste, even food tasting bad, throat burn. I don't have heartburn, never have. Look at previous videos. But throat burn, watery eyes, phlegm, postnasal drip, more like I have silent reflux, LPR, laryngopharyngeal reflux, not that typical acid reflux. I don't get it here. I get it up above the clavicles. Up here is where I have issues. Right now I have throat burn. I can drink water, but the more water I drink, sometimes it starts out tasting good and then it seems to make me nauseous. So continued issues. Around the 5th or 6th of November, a couple days after the colonoscopy, felt pretty good, but then I felt a stabbing pain left side where the hernia, I believe, repair was and whatnot. Then I felt just more pressure in that area. So major setback, I'd say. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I'll get to that in a second. So it just continued issues, which is very disheartening, of course. I'm able to eat whatever I want to eat, but again, there's not a food that triggers anymore. It doesn't seem. It's not like I have salsa and not tacos and spaghetti and pizza and the typical heartburn foods, the tomato stuff and the spicy. Even the fatty foods caused me a problem in the past. It's not like a particular food causes me a problem. It just kind of, the pain or the symptoms are just come and go when they please and are more persistent. And again, I wake up and I have some water and bleh, disgusting. And I drink flavoring. I'm able to drink Mountain Dew, or I haven't tried something like orange juice. That would be stupid in my opinion. But this doesn't necessarily burn or bother me. But again, I still have nausea. I still have water brash. I still have sour taste. And it's just, again, not horrible, but it's, even then again, as this Mountain Dew goes down, it just doesn't taste like Mountain Dew as much as it could. It masks the water brash and the sour taste, kind of a thing that I normally taste, and sometimes it's better than, some days and some hours and some minutes it's better than others, but it's just not good. Anyway, so because I was having these consistent issues and the pain, and I'm like, oh, I get a stabbing pain sometimes, like, oh, that's not good. I talked to the wrong surgeon, because if you went back to previous videos, you saw that I had two. One doctor did the TIF, one doctor did the hiatal hernia repair, surgeon. So I talked to the surgeon that did the hiatal hernia repair, and he said it was more an issue with the TIF. So I need to talk to the other doctor. But essentially, this doctor said that they want to do another endoscopy because this far out, it's unusual for this to continue. It's unusual for symptoms to persist this far out. So I'm sure I did something wrong. Something happened. Who knows what happened? Sounds like he said something about maybe if it's just one of the, they're not the traditional sutures like stitches, but if one of the staples or stitches came loose, then they might be able to go back, or they would go back in with a TIF device and put it back. Sounds like it would be relatively simple for them, because that's to the point. Again, if you watch my previous videos, how much weight I lost being on a liquid diet, and he didn't say would I be on I didn't ask him again how long I would be on a liquid diet, what's the because this is different than the pamphlet they give you. This is like a repair of a TIF. And then if it was worse than that, and it just, the TIF came loose or something like that, then it sounds like they'd have to do more of a traditional Nissen fundoplication, which I don't want. I've put on, 20 pounds, give or take, back to my preferred weight, because I was extremely skinny. I put on, about 20 pounds. For me, I like to resistance train. I wanted to put on muscle mass. I put on my muscle mass back. I feel pretty good in that regard. But I still, again, I don't feel healthy. I don't feel healthy. I told my wife, or my, other people, I said, I feel like when you're healthy, you could wrestle a bear. If they were after your child or your significant other or whomever, that I could go, I'd die, but I feel like I could fight a bear. I'd fight him as best I could to save my family. But I just get knocked over. I would not stand a chance because I'm just not healthy. And I was trying to be patient. Again, how long does it take? And if you go back to previous videos, you hear me saying, well, it's not 6 weeks. 6 weeks. If it's not 6 weeks, is it 8 weeks? 10 weeks? 12 weeks? That seemed like such a long time. And now here we are, 17 weeks, 4 months or so out, and I'm still having an issue. So, obviously, I guess I'm preparing for something to be wrong. Very disheartening. There's nothing I can do, but hopefully, I don't know. I mean, if there's nothing wrong, then, because I asked him about gallbladder, he said, with your symptoms, it's not likely that your symptoms are being caused by your gallbladder stuff. So, anyhow, that's the next step. Endoscopy again, 3 times under anesthesia within a 6-month period, 4-month period, give or take, whatever. My math is bad. But I'll probably be going in for another. I'm going to go for another endoscopy at some point. I don't know if that's going to be in a week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'll go in for another endoscopy, and they'll see what they see and do what they can't fix it then. But then if something was torn or ripped, then they'd have to do something else. So I guess I'm trying not to think that direction or go that direction and worry about it right now, I guess. But I do not want to do this again. I don't want to have a Nissen. That was the reason I did the TIF, was so I didn't have the Nissen. That full wrap just scares me, and I don't even know if it's a possibility to do a Lynx now. But again, the Lynx isn't covered by my insurance, so I'd have to pay it out of pocket. So, and what, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000. I don't know. I've heard different prices, but and I'm not a rich person, but I have money that I could do the TIF, or excuse me, the Lynx. But what a disaster. Sorry, this is probably not the video of those of you who are hoping to hear that I'm doing well and everything's back to normal and this process was like this, and you've heard my struggles. But again, whatever happened with my hernia, whatever happened with the constipation and stuff like that had nothing to do, it doesn't seem like, with the hernia and the TIF. Just another issue, and just the fact that I got constipated because of the surgery, and led to that and caused some hemorrhoids and stuff like that. embarrassing, but you're here to listen to this stuff and hear about my situation, I suppose. So fast forward, too late to tell you. I don't know how to put the timestamps and stuff like that on here to inform you what I'm going to be talking about. Not that anybody would, always searches through that anyway. So I apologize if you don't want to hear about that stuff. But again, it's just what complication. I guess maybe it's a good thing, and that you hear about the complications, because they tell you about this and they tell you about the TIF and the hernia and the recovery and the food and the this and the that. But I didn't anticipate having major issues with constipation to the point where they suspected something else and they had to do a colonoscopy. I didn't anticipate that. I'm sure they didn't either. But potential complication. So maybe this is good for you to hear if you're having a TIF and Hiatal hernia repair. Right now I'm very upset. So I would say think twice about doing it. Because I don't want to do this again. I don't want to go through a TIF again. I don't want to be on a liquid diet again. It just immediately hearing, and that's what he said, because I said, am I going to be on the same, is this going to be the same process? And again, they said 6 weeks initially, but is it going to be longer than that? That's what you said initially for the first one. This one, we'd have to do X, Y, and Z, and you wouldn't stay in the hospital overnight. It's an outpatient procedure, so it doesn't sound as invasive. If assuming that it's not a major complication and I didn't rip all of them open or something, the valve didn't hold, as he said, I think. I just got done talking to him, so it's just like all this information, even though it was like a 8-minute conversation swirling in my head. So hopefully there's no major complication, because if they have to do a Nissen, I may be just dealing with my problem and the silent acid reflux for several more months, because I don't want to do that right now. I just feel like I got back to somewhat normal, even though I still have symptoms. I just don't want to go through this again right now. I just went through it in July. It's November. It's depressing. I know it's probably not what a lot of you who are watching this video, will watch this video, want to hear. And I still, I don't know. I wanted a fix. I wanted to just be normal. I wanted to go to, again, Thanksgiving upcoming and not have to worry about what I eat. And mindful, yeah, but not worried. Like, I better, just like anybody else that's had acid reflux before. Not the persistent problems that probably most of you have had that are listening to this video. But like, you go to Thanksgiving, and especially in my family or my in-laws, there's spicy stuff. There's pico de gallo with jalapenos in it, or that you put whatever. You get my point. There's not just a traditional Thanksgiving food. Sometimes maybe it is salsas and tamales or something like that, and you have that a lot. And I don't drink, but you have that with a beer, and then you eat later than you normally would, and 2 beers or however many beers, and my family just goes nuts with that kind of stuff, in-laws and stuff like that. But you're asking for it, right? Like, oh man, my heartburn, and then Tums, Rolaids at the time when you could take it, Zantac, maybe a Pepcid, something fast acting, problem goes away. You might have trouble sleeping that night, you're tired the next day, but within a couple days, your acid reflux goes away, and you just don't have a problem anymore. And then you're like, I shouldn't have done that, I asked for it. But that's not how my issue is. It's not like I eat something and it's like, that was a trigger, I shouldn't have done that. That's not what does it. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm getting water rash because because I'm sitting here apparently, and I'm like, why? And it wasn't. I don't think it's a Mountain Dew, but again, I don't want to have I better not. I better think that Mountain Dew through. I better not have that, because it does get to a point where historically it was that bad. I'm like, I can't have something I really like, and now I have to be careful. I go to Thanksgiving, and I better be very careful what I put in my mouth, because this could cause me a problem. Oh man, I can't. I better not have that. Oh shoot, that has too much fat. Maybe that has too much fat in it. What ingredients are in there? Does it have garlic salt? I mean, come on. Talk about affecting your activities of daily living. And I don't have it near as bad as some of you that have watched these videos. I sympathize, but call me a baby. Spit on my face. Call me a baby. Yep, I am. I just cannot take it sometimes. And yeah, it's better than it was. I have been able to have things like tacos and um, salsa and stuff like that. And I have, but I haven't jumped into what I really wanted was, again, 4 months ago I wanted was a green chili burrito. I can't have. I'm just terrified because my symptoms haven't just gone away. So and now again, this is unusual for it to be lasting this long. So that tells me something's wrong. Um, so I don't know. Will I do what I will I move forward with? I'm going to move forward with the endoscopy. Sure. I mean, they got to test to find out what's wrong. But will I do what I need to do to fix this? Will I let them do the TIF repair? Probably. If they said, yeah, your liquid diet only can last 2 weeks or something like that. Um, I'll probably do it different this time and ask about, can I take what long distance runners take? Like I'm serious, like 25-mile marathon plus. I have a colleague at work that runs 50-mile races. When he first told me, he said over the weekend, he's like, no, in one shot. I'm like 50-mile. So yeah, he has what he would call goo or gel, or like a lifesaver gummy, or what do you call them? Dots candy, softer than that. Sorry about the cat. And he just, because they don't eat, they're running for God knows how long it takes them to run 50 miles, but they need calories, they need food, they need energy. They can't chew food, so they drink a liquid gummy or goo and just would swallow it, and it gives them like 1,000 calories. Can I take a half of that or something? Could I add in more protein shake into a soup to keep calories in, or is that going to hurt me? Because that's the last thing I wanted to do. You want to do this, and then did I do something wrong? I followed the directions. I lost 15 pounds, 10 pounds in 10 days. I was skin and bones, in my opinion, and it was horrible. Shh. Sorry about that. And so I don't know how to get. That's my big thing, because mentally, for me, it was extremely hard to lose that much weight and look the way I looked post surgery, and then to not be able to exercise the way I want to. It's just hard, and I sacrificed. I did. I had to do it. I did it for 6 weeks and whatnot. But what would really scare me is again having to go through the Nissen and being on a liquid diet even longer. Because at a point it just got to be like, this is disgusting. I hate this. Quiet, please. He just wants attention. So, I know this is supposed to be a shorter one, and I was wrong. I guess I ramble on and on. I apologize for those of you who are watching videos, and God, this guy goes on and on. But I don't have a script. I'm just talking. So, again, I don't. Right now, I'm upset. So I say, don't do it. Look at another option. But I don't think he said something about if it didn't. I'm trying to remember if he said if it was a TIF and just one thing popped. Something about this doesn't happen very often. It's extremely rare. It sounds like I would be there. Something about the literature. It's 1% or something, if I recall, and I would be their first case. So, that's a good thing that you're probably one. If you have this done, that you're probably going to be one of the ones that are the lucky ones, and this works just fine. I guess I'm not. So we'll have to see. I don't know yet, but beyond that, I'm still able to. I can eat whatever I want. I've again put on 20 pounds over the last. 17 weeks over the last 10 weeks or so. So a lot of protein shakes, and I'm not stuffing my. I don't think I'm stuffing myself, but I am eating a bit. Quiet. Sheesh. I swear he's like he's being tortured, but he's just standing right there. Come here. So, yeah, and it just the going through the liquid diet and the restrictions, and just heartbreaking to think that I have to go through this. Would have to go through this again. How bad do I want to feel normal? So I know there's Facebook groups, and I belong to a couple. I don't go on there very much or say much. I just don't want to deal with it. It's depressing sometimes, and I want to be helpful and also just get some support, but it's just not my way, I guess, that much. And maybe I should go on there more, but um, it's just hard. I might have to a little bit more. It's just this process has just been very hard. Quiet. Been very hard, and I finally again feeling back to normal in terms of my body weight and my ability to do things I want to do. But maybe that was part of the problem. Did I? But again, after 6 weeks, lift what you normally would lift. I'm not. I'm lifting. I'm doing resistance training, but I'm not lifting what I normally could lift. And I'm not a huge bodybuilder type of guy. I just do resistance training. I just like to keep strong and help with my activities of daily lifting boxes, or lifting my child. And I did not lift anything that I should not have lifted. But at 6 weeks, again, I went really slow. Didn't lift anything I wasn't supposed to lift. And then even at 6 weeks, I'm not super duper strong, but I can lift certain things with weights and resistance training, and I still haven't gone back to that. I'm very, very careful. But again, this time, will they tell me don't do any resistance training for 10 weeks? That'd be hard to take. It's just part of who I am. For some, it's like I gotta take my medication, or I have to brush my, I hope you brush your teeth, but I got to brush my teeth. I got to get in the shower. I got to do whatever it is that I have to do this, or I don't feel normal. And that's what exercise and weightlifting is for me. It's part of who I am. I just need to do it. It's meditative in a weird way. It's hard and you're pushing, you're not meditating, but it is. It's like a drug. Weightlifting and resistance training is like a drug for me. And if I can't do it, it's just hard, really hard. And again, I went 6 weeks without it. And to now say, oh, I'm going to go, I'd have to go longer. But I don't know what else there's nothing else I could do. I just have to do what I'm supposed to do, and it'll do what it's going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. But it's so depressing. And I just don't understand how anything couldn't be wrong. I'm a pessimist, and I know that some of you might watch in these videos and stopped, and maybe you're coming back to this one to see because you saw a new video pop up. It's like, God, this guy's negative. Yep. But I guess my brothers have said, yeah, you're negative, but you're realistic. Because, yep, I'm going to face the fact that this could be bad, and I could have to have a Nissan if I want to fix this problem. So, not what you want to hear. And again, I'd say, don't do this, but at the same time, are you going to have the complications I have had? I just was an unlucky one. And so my counselor said not just about this, but the chances of you having, I got her now. Yeah, you said the chances of this, you were right. The chances were low, but guess what happened? I was right. The chances of this happening were low. Plan on not having it happen, but it did happen to me. Oh, and does it suck? Because again, I just wanted to, I can deal with regular old heartburn. And I did it to myself. I had nachos, pizza, or spaghetti, something like that, and it just really bothered me. I'm asking for it. Have a Pepsid, have a Tums or Rolaids, have trouble sleeping that night. Next day, maybe have a little bit of an issue, but then, you move around, you do this or do that, and then, I'm okay. And then you don't have that again for a couple days, and you're just fine. You go on about your day, you live your life, you don't think about, oh God, I can't eat this, I can't do that, I can't do this. And the simple things most people don't think about. Like having a greasy potato chip. Oh, I can't have that. That's going to flare me. I'm going to start feeling nausea or something. So, anyhow, I'm going to stop. I know I'm just venting and rambling at this point now to the camera. So any of you that are listening, thank you for your ear and any kind words you have. And it's debilitating. I was very, very, very depressed at a point. Especially it was after I was clear to go to solids like eggs and things like that at the time on day 15, and then yet I had to go back to a liquid diet, and no, that was horrible, horrible, horrible. So if I have to do this again, I have to figure something else out, because thinking about having that soup, at first I was like, oh, this is not that bad. It's kind of bad. Thinking about going back to that liquid diet and to have those things. I really hate ice cream now. I don't want ice cream. I hate it. To have to know that that's one of the ways I can get some calories. I have to have ice cream or sherbet or pureed mushed soup and mashed potatoes, liquefied mashed potatoes. Not good. I don't want to do it. It hasn't even happened yet. I don't even know that it's going to happen, but I guess I'm trying to prepare mentally. I don't want to do it. I guess I will if I have no other choice. But so there's my update on day 119, day 120, whatever it is, 17 weeks, 4 months later. Not so good. Sorry, everybody. At this point, I would assume you might not get much from me in terms of help, because my situation is going to be so different than yours if you do have this, because I'm going to have to, I would assume, have some sort of a repair. So otherwise, what are my symptoms coming? Where are my symptoms coming from? Is it the gallbladder? He said no, but if I have these symptoms, then a suture popped, or the valve didn't hold, or whatever it might be. So my situation is probably going to be, like he said, extremely rare. You're probably not going to come across this. I would hope. And I pray for you. I hope for you. You don't have the symptoms I have and haven't had this continued issue for 4+ months after surgery. You go through the 6 weeks and you just feel wonderful, and you're just, this is great. For me, it just didn't work like that. So you continue to watch. I again, probably not going to post very many videos going forward, but when I have an answer on the endoscopy, I probably will, and then what's wrong, and then what the plan of action is thereafter. So thanks, YouTube. Have a good one.